pure ice.
This is one of the worst spots that we have seen. I mean, sheet of ice, we are just slipping and sliding.
Slipping and sliding. Freezing temperatures have made road travel dangerous this morning.
Take extreme caution.
This part of Raleigh, not in great shape.
Definitely want to slow down.
You can see these roads are not clear.
The sheen of the ice.
There's really not going to be a whole lot of melting.
WRAL News on our second WRAL Weather Alert Day. And right now we're giving you a live look at downtown Raleigh, and you can clearly see a lot of overcast there. The road's still covered with some snow and some ice. Here are some of the things you want to know this morning. Secondary roads are still slick in Wake County, as I just mentioned. That's why we are tracking the potential danger to you. More than 7,000 people are without power, but most of these people are along the coast. And dozens of flights have been canceled at RDU. That's why we're actively monitoring the airport this morning to make sure you're informed if your flight is impacted. Thanks so much for staying with us during our continuing coverage of this second day of WRAL Weather Alert Days. I'm Chris Levingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. If you are looking for the Today Show, you can find it on Spectrum Channel 5.2, and that's Spectrum Channel 1255, and then Channel 5.2. Let's get outside to meteorologist Elizabeth Garter. She's on the weather patio. She has her boots on. She's got her coat on. How does it feel out there?
It's cold out here. You know, I've only been standing out here for a couple of minutes, but it's already feeling chilly. Our temperature right now is in the mid-20s. Currently, at this moment, it's not breezy, but once that wind starts to kick up a little later, the wind chill is going to be an issue for us today, tonight, and tomorrow. Let's take a live look here at Franklinton, and you can see all the snow that remains on the road there. This is the main road right through downtown. So it's not just secondary roads. We are looking at, of course, the conditions out there, very slick across the region. So it just, it doesn't really matter where you are. We're seeing those slick conditions. So, and the temperatures, of course, also on the chilly side. So we'll take a look at temperature, 26 degrees right now. We do a northeast wind at around 5 miles per hour, and that does create a small wind chill. We take a look at downtown Raleigh. That is Fayetteville Street, which is also covered in snow and ice currently. So we're seeing that everywhere. It's going to be a while before we see much melting. Our road temperatures are currently in the low to mid 20s. So we've got to see those temperatures, warm up all the way to 32 plus before we're going to see much improvement out there. And with the cloudy skies that we're seeing right now and that we'll see through the day, it's just going to take a long time. Our winter weather advisories are in effect for the entire viewing area because of the slick conditions. I'll tell you right here, it's really slippery on the patio. Just this little bit of moisture is making things really slippery. We're going to see another band of just isolated flurries that comes through closer to lunchtime. No more accumulation, but wind chills in the single digits and teens tonight and early tomorrow morning. It's going to be something that you're going to need to be prepared for if you have to be out early. How much snow did we see in the Triangle? Officially at RDU, 2.3 inches. We also saw that in Apex and Cary, 3 inches in Wake Forest and in Rollsville. We saw 3.8 inches in Durham, and in Garner, Clayton, and Zebulon, it was about 1.5 inches. So everybody got, at least in the Triangle, some snowfall, and it looked pretty there for a while. And, now it's just causing, issues on the roads. Here's a look at satellite and radar. Notice that band of snow starting to push a little farther east. We will end up seeing some flurries out of this, but I just don't think we're going to see any accumulation. That band, as it moves closer to us there on Futurecast, you can see as we get closer to lunchtime, it really just fizzles out. So a flurry or two is all we'll really see out of this. Our wind chill currently is mainly in the teens. It does feel like 20 in Durham and Raleigh, 18 in Fayetteville, 16 currently in Rocky Mount. And again, moving forward, we're looking at our temperatures really being a bigger issue for us. We take a look at wind chills through tomorrow morning, likely to be in the teens. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more about when we should start to see some improvement on the roads.
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. I'll tell you what. You're seeing some purple on the map on US 1 coming east, north, I-540 in the northern loop. That's because people are just taking it extremely slow. The other troubled spot, Pool Road. You got a crash on Barwell and Pool Road. You got a disabled vehicle there, but Pool Road is an absolute sheet of ice. So the State Highway Patrol has shut down that portion of Pool Road. So if that's part of your morning commute, you have to find an alternate route this morning. Maybe I-87 could be an alternate route for you, because all those main roads are relatively free and clear this morning. The other situation that we're monitoring is actually on I-95. There's a situation on I-95 near I-40. That's a situation where the on-ramps to I-95 is closed right there on I-40. Not seeing any issues in terms of delays in that area, but you might want to avoid that area. Here's what we're talking about. Right there is the situation that we're talking about. Highway 301 is an alternate route for you. That might be an alternate route, as well as Highway 50. Let's go over and bring it back to Durham and get over to Monica Casey, live in Durham with what we're seeing there right now. Monica.
Good morning, Ken. Things look okay here in Durham overall. This is Roxborough Street. You know that road. It runs north-south here through Durham. We are north of downtown right now, and this street looks okay. You can see people are driving maybe a little fast there, but it's mostly slush right here. We're right by Duke Regional, and so this area is a little bit busier than what we were seeing over on Hillsborough Road earlier, but this is a little bit better than what we were seeing on Hillsborough Road. I want to point out again, though, the sidewalks and just how icy they are. This entire parking lot of this shell is a sheet of ice. It is not good for walking around. I can confirm that. One thing we want to remind you, if you are getting out on the roads this morning, is cleaning off the top of your car. You can see a couple cars here have done that to ensure the snow on top of your car is not flying back on the person behind you. It's difficult enough to drive without someone else's snow from their car hitting yours. So overall, this area of Durham looking good. We did go through downtown Durham as well, and those roads were passable. Some of the smaller secondary streets still need some work, so it's still good to take it slow out there. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
And WRAL's Brett Neese, we'll get back to him. He's live on Pool Road. Brett, it's a mess out there still.
Michelle, it is, and I'm going to turn the camera right around to this Terabella Senior Living van right now. You can just hear how loud it is as its tires screech and squeal and spin as they try to get back up this hill. They turned around, and now they're stuck in this position. This is why it's so bad. This is the perfect example. You're on an incline right here at Pool Road and Hodge Road, and you're trying to turn around, but when one of these tires starts to get stuck and spins, and then you can't go anywhere. I mean, this is fascinating to watch. They are trying their hardest to get up this hill. I mean, just listen to that noise of this tire screeching against the ice here on Pool Road. So many other cars doing exactly what this Terabella Senior Living van is doing right now. It is a disaster out here on Pool Road. Highway Patrol has shut down portions of it, trying to keep people off of it, but there are so many spots just like this one that it is they can't shut all of it down at this point, and they are trying to get DOT crews out here, but this is so widespread of an issue. DOT crews can only get to so many spots. They can't get out here to get salt on roads like this and scrape this ice off the roadway. And so we are seeing car after car struggle here on Pool Road, just like this van is doing right now. They are on a part of the incline that perhaps isn't even the worst part of the incline. That just shows you just how thick this ice is, how terrible this ice is, and really just stay off Pool Road right now, guys.
Mess top to bottom. All right, thank you, Brett. Wake County schools are closed again today because of the winter weather. All other school systems in red on this map right here, they're closed today. School systems in green will have remote learning, and you can see the entire list over on WRAL.com. Now, we do have WRAL's Chelsea Donovan outside right now, and she is reporting on the conditions that we have on the roads. Chelsea, what are you seeing where you're at right now?
Yeah, we're seeing quite a mess here. We're literally on the Johnston-Wake County line off of 42. This is Cleveland School Road. Look at this truck that overturned into this yard here, and that is because, take a look at this, and Keith, follow me over here. We're going to do this really safely. This, look at my foot, is an absolute sheet of ice as far as you can see. So obviously this vehicle perhaps even going a slow speed, because we were slipping and sliding going 10 miles an hour, obviously went into the yard here. It looks like everybody, we understand, was okay. Just obviously some damage here. Luckily that car didn't go further into this house. But all of these back roads coming off of 42 are a complete mess. I mean, we were driving so slow, Chris, even just trying to turn around to get this shot, and are slipping and sliding everywhere. This, again, is just a really good idea. Those main arteries, 87, 64, 40, 440, 540, may be okay, but getting there, I mean, absolute ice this morning, a thick sheet of ice, and this is just This just shows you what could happen in a moment's notice.
Be careful out there, Chelsea. Please stay safe. And we're going to come back here in just a little bit with your weather and traffic update as some people out there on the roads having a bit trouble trying to navigate.
Welcome back. 8:13 on your Thursday morning. Another WRAL alert day because of the snow we've gotten. This is a live look over Roxborough. Very quiet there. You see some snow on the grass, but you know it's not shocking that it's quiet because it's icy out there.
And that's how we know people are watching us and listening to us say that if you don't have to be on the road, do not be out on the road. To tell you a little bit more about that, we have Elizabeth Gardner on the WRAL weather patio. She's got the puffy goat, the boots with the fur. Elizabeth, everyone's looking at you to try to get a perspective of what's going on right now.
Yeah, stay home. That's what's going on right now. We do have a winter weather advisory that's in effect for the entire viewing area because of the slick conditions. Our temperatures dropped into the mid-20s overnight last night. Right here on the patio, I think that probably the crews tried to get most of the snow off, but there's just a little bit of moisture. It's super slippery here right now. When I drove in this morning, my neighborhood was more slippery than either of the other two storm systems that we've had. So I think the roads are worse now than they were the time before and the time before that. So do keep that in mind. The next thing that we're watching closely is some very cold temperatures for tonight and tomorrow. We have a cold weather advisory in our northeastern counties. This is a look at Wilson, and Wilson was one of the spots that saw a lot of snow, as much as 3 to 3.5 inches there in Wilson. And right here's the street, and you can see it's completely covered in snow. And of course, our crews are out there, and now that people are trying to get out and move around a little bit, they found a lot of spots where people just cannot get up a hill, down a hill. If you have any hills in your neighborhood, it's going to cause you a real problem for today, most likely, at least for now. 26 degrees is our temperature currently. We don't have freezing until lunchtime. And then even at that point, we're still looking at cloudy skies. So the best thing to do, go out with your dog, have a fun morning, bundle up and just have a good time at home. Cody the Husky was loving it. You know the Huskies love this kind of weather because they have all that thick fur. Go to WRAL.com/report it and send us your photos. You guys have been doing a great job of that. Keep it up. How about some of the local snowfall totals? This was a coastal storm, so we were expecting it all to be, or mostly to be in the northeast, the heavier totals anyway. 4.5 in Henderson, 4 inches in Halifax, Red Oak at 3.5, Cary 2.3, and that was also what we saw at RDU, so that will go down officially in the books for this system. Siler City at almost 2, and Irwin at a little under an inch because there was some sleet that mixed in there. We're going to send it over to meteorologist Chris Michaels to talk a little bit more about who is having to do some shoveling this morning.
Yeah, quite a bit of that, Elizabeth, especially as you go from Wake and Johnston counties farther to the north and the east. Now, some of it may be getting a little crunchy out there, especially with how cold things have been this morning. So keep that in mind and definitely make sure you're hydrating, especially because this is some of the heavier, wetter type of snow that we most often see. That most previous system that we had a few weeks ago was very powdery, very unusual for our area. It was actually more typical of Montana. But this time around, if you were to take, say, 11 inches of snow and melt it down completely, it would be 1 inch of liquid. So there is enough liquid in it to where it's a little bit of a heavier snow. So it's not exactly the easiest to shovel in those areas that saw 3, 4, 5 inches. It is good from some snowballs and some snowmen. If you do make those, we want to see your pictures. Go to WRAL.com/reported. As Elizabeth has been mentioning, a lot of you guys doing a great job of that. Elizabeth?
You know what, Chris? I'm just noticing a few flurries right now. We've been tracking some of this on the radar. As a matter of fact, yesterday we were talking about the fact that we would have a weak disturbance come through and bring us a little bit of light patchy snow. I don't think it's going to be enough to bring us any accumulation, but on Futurecast you can see where that snow starts to approach us and then sort of falls apart. It is cloudy between now and say early to mid-afternoon, but gradually we start to see some clearing. But when that happens, those winds are really going to kick in and the wind chills really going to plunge tonight and tomorrow morning. Here's what we're looking at as we get through the day. A few flurries out there, slick roads still at midday, and then a little sunshine during the afternoon with some minor improvement. We're not going to clear the roads by any means. We're just not going to see enough sunshine or warm temperatures today. Speaking of temperatures, look at that, 17 in Goldsboro, 16 Rocky Mount. Those are the wind chills. Unfortunately, it feels like a toasty 20 right here on the patio. Feels like 18 in Southern Pines. Sledding forecast, and kids are going to want to be out. Nobody really really needs to be leaving the house again today, but it is going to be in the mid-30s for highs this afternoon. And of course, overnight tonight, we have that cold weather advisory for our northeastern counties. That's where the wind chill could drop as low as 6. Look at those negative wind chills across a huge chunk of the country, even as far south as Dallas, Texas right now. It feels like -2, and we're going to see some really cold wind chills, but at least it stays above freezing. Tomorrow morning, it'll feel like somewhere between 10 and 12, or even some single digits up into the northeast. Checking out the temperatures tomorrow is a different day. It's going to start really cold, but we'll see a lot of sunshine. We'll see some melting, and then the weekend will take good care of it so that kids will be back at school on Monday, and then it just turns spring-like by Tuesday, you guys.
All right. Happening now with the WRAL Traffic Center, really dicey road conditions out there. US 1 coming in from Apex. We're seeing that northern loop of I-540 as well as those I-40 lanes there in Johnson County, Garner, east and west this morning. The other troubled spot, Pool Road. You've got Barwell Road, a crash there. You've got a disabled vehicle there. In between Pool Road and Hodge Road, Barwell Road and Hodge Road, there on Pool Road, completely a parking lot. Brett Neese has been giving us some really great pictures and video of cars just struggling to get up those hills around Pool Road. So that's a situation that we can continue to monitor for you this morning, because really and truly, I-87 really is your best bet in terms of avoiding what's happening there on Pool Road. The other troubled spot is this I-40 on-ramps to I-95. It's a situation that's been monitoring for the last couple of hours. That's the exit that you take to get to Fayetteville this morning, and it's a situation where nobody is moving. And you know, when you see purple, it means that road is closed. I think in this instance, it's a situation where people are just going it extremely slow. Had a couple of crashes on I-95. There was one on I-95 near Highway 70 there in Smithfield, and another one just up the street near Myrtle Road. Both have cleared for right now, but you're still seeing the lingering delays there on I-95. And even without crashes and the dicey conditions that we're seeing, I-95 is always challenging. But if you're navigating that roadway this morning, just take it extremely slow. We do have a couple of crashes in terms of a handful of crashes dotting our live traffic sensors this morning. As we bring it back to the big picture, none is really causing any major issues for you on any of the major routes, but I'll keep tracking it for you here in the WRAL Traffic Center. And if you're getting ready to head into the car, tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
I mean, Michelle, you see those icons behind them. Just a mess out there on the roads.
It's a mess out there. Yeah, it really is. Take it from us. We've been out there this morning. It's a good day to stay home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, let's get out to Destiny Patterson. She is live in Orange County still for us this morning. Destiny, you've seen a lot of ice out there.
That's right. And now we're also starting to see some snow flurries as well. I want to put this into perspective, though. Look at the ice accumulation that we're seeing here and just how slippery it is. You definitely don't want to be out here driving on this mess. And if you look at the secondary roads here, they are quite covered in both snow and ice. In fact, the Orange County Sheriff put something out on Facebook warning people of the black ice. So that's the ice that you can't even see. He says, in his words, the further south you go, the worse the roads are. You think the road is clear, and then you come up on black ice. From where we're standing, we're not far from the 85 on-ramp for 85 North, and this is the general area of where we saw just chaos yesterday. State troopers told us that there were 12 different crashes involving 53 different vehicles. I want you to take a listen to what one of the drivers had to say who was involved in one of those crashes.
Tow my truck up. But thanks be to God, who is the greatest power. Lord have mercy.
Back out here live, you can see the crews that are out here hard at work. We've seen several plow trucks, several salt trucks, just trying to clear the roads as much as they possibly can. So if you do have to head out, not only should you be looking out for the road conditions, but also look out for the crews that are out here trying to keep these roads safe for you as well. In reference to that crash that I mentioned earlier, we know that at least one person died and 11 other people were hurt. So we're checking in with state troopers to hear more about their conditions this morning. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, live in Orange County.
And this is why we keep telling people if you don't have to be out, don't be. We are seeing icy conditions on the roads in Johnston and Wake counties. Right now, you're looking live in the WRAL Storm Tracker on I-95 North. We're going to get a check-in a little bit on the road conditions there in just a moment.
Well, the WRAL Storm Tracker has been checking out miles of major interstates and highways this morning. We've already covered 3 counties.
Quite a bit. In fact, Kelsey Coffey is a part of that coverage. She is in the WRAL Storm Tracker this morning. Kelsey, you're on I-95 North near Rocky Mount. I'm sure the roads are still kind of a little rocky out there. No pun intended.
Yes, Chris, a lot of ice on these roads. We'll give you a live look now at road conditions. You can see there that there's a plow truck right here in front of me trying to clear all of these roads. There are several crashes on 95 this morning. There's at least 3, maybe 4 crashes. We did see 2 of them. It appears to be like everyone is okay, but it's pretty obvious based on how the crash aftermath looked that it's likely that it was weather related. So we'll try to keep you updated on those crashes. But if you find yourself having to head out today, you're definitely going to want to give yourself some extra time because you will have to slow down. I mean, right now we are driving 20 miles per hour below the speed limit just because we really want to be careful as we're out here on these roadways. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Johnston County.
Always a good idea to just take it slow. Well, a driver has minor injuries after crashing into a fire truck in Johnston County. This happened yesterday afternoon on I-40. The Cleveland Fire Department says crews were responding to a different crash when another driver slammed on their brakes, lost control, and hit that fire truck. No firefighters were hurt. The department says this is a good reminder for drivers to slow down and move over for emergency vehicles.
And several cars were damaged after spinning out on I-87, not too far from Knightdale. And what you're seeing here, this is what it looked like around 6 o'clock last night. Notice the cars pressed against the guardrails. The DOT warned drivers that interstates were prone to pileups because you see a lot of cars and people driving fast. That's why they're also a priority for both the brining and the plowing.
And as we've been talking about all morning long, slick conditions out there on the roads. Durham is no exception. You are looking live over the Bull City right now. We'll check in on road conditions there just ahead.
Pure ice.
This is one of the worst spots that we have seen. I mean, sheet of ice, we are just slipping and sliding.
Slipping and sliding. Freezing temperatures have made road travel dangerous this morning.
Take extreme caution.
This part of Raleigh, not in great shape.
Definitely want to slow down.
You can see these roads are not clear.
The sheen of the ice.
There's really not going to be a whole lot of melting.
WRAL News on our second WRAL Weather Alert Day. And what a weather alert day it is this morning as you are looking live at downtown Raleigh. You can clearly see there's some vehicles out on the roads right now, and it is a lot of people out there where maybe you want to stay home if you can. So here's what's new this morning. Secondary roads are still slick in Wake County. We're also tracking the potential danger for you. More than 7,000 people are without power. Most of these people are along the coast. And dozens of flights have been canceled at RDU. That is why we are actively monitoring the airport this morning to make sure that you know what's going on regarding your flight.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much for joining us here on WRAL News. I'm Chris Levingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. If you are looking for the Today Show, you can find it on Channel 5.2 and Spectrum Channel 1255. Let's get the 8:30 hour started with Elizabeth Gardner. She is out on the WRAL weather patio with her boots, tracking this next system that's heading toward us.
Take a look here at radar. Just starting to pick up some snow, especially back to the west. We've had some reports of some wintry precipitation there across parts of Winston-Salem, Greensboro. And notice it's starting to fill in a little bit between, say, here, Durham, and back toward Greensboro, at least lightly. I've started to notice just a few flurries. It's not much. I mean, maybe a snowflake here, a snowflake there, but we may start to see more of that building in. Still, I wouldn't expect to see it accumulating at all. We won't see enough for any additional accumulation, but you can start to see it pushing our way, just showing up in green there from Durham to Creedmoor to Hillsboro, all the way up to Yanceyville and Roxboro. So again, some flurries. Don't be alarmed by that. We're not likely to see any additional accumulation. Well, let's take a look at Futurecast. And Futurecast shows a little bit of that just light precipitation between now and 10 o'clock. And then after that, it just kind of fizzles out. As we head through the afternoon, we were seeing some clearing. This version of Futurecast really holds those clouds in place up until around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then hopefully after that, we'll see a bit of clearing. We're going to go back to that camera there on Fayetteville Street. This is a look at our Jimmy V camera. And this reminds me of our last system. I was amazed at the crews. We hit, I don't know, 7 o'clock in the morning. And there are just all these people, all these city crews out there are working really hard to clear the sidewalk, to clear the streets. And so they're going to take care of that pretty quickly. But there are plenty of roads out there where nobody's taking care of them, like neighborhood streets, really, really slippery. And of course, our crews are out all over taking a look at some really slippery places, hills, that sort of thing, where people are really struggling this morning. 26 degrees right now with a northwest wind at 5 miles per hour. So it's cold. We have a little bit of a wind chill that we're dealing with. Our road temperatures are anywhere from the low to mid 20s. So we have a long way to go to get the temperatures warm enough to start that melting process. Because of that, we do have winter weather advisories in effect across the viewing area. That band of flurries moving through up until around lunchtime. And then the wind chill will be our biggest story tonight and tomorrow. How much snowfall have we seen? Officially at RDU, it was 2.3. Farther to the south and east, Garner, Clayton, Zebulon, about 1.5 inches. Durham at 3.8 inches. So it was a good coating of snow, enough for snowmen, enough for sledding. But it's cold out there. Our wind chill is 18 in Fayetteville right now. It's 16 in Rocky Mount and in Goldsboro. And this is a look at our hour-by-hour wind chill for today. Our high temperature will climb into the mid-30s, but it will only feel like mid-20s this afternoon. If we see a little sunshine, we'll begin the melting, but I'll show you when we'll really start to see some changes in our road situation coming up. Ken?
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We're following some real breaking news right now in southern Wake County. We're talking about, we're getting reports of I-40 eastbound near Clayton because of a crash at exit 319 completely shut down. This is what we're talking about right down in that area. Those eastbound lanes are completely shut down right now at 319. That's right there in Clayton. We're getting reports that that road could remain closed probably up until about noon today. This is what we're talking about right around the Highway 210 is a situation that it's not going to be done anytime soon. We're going to keep working on that and let you know exactly how that's going to continue to affect your morning commute. But for right now, we're being told that it's going to be before noon before that really reopens. The other troubled spot we've been monitoring, it's right along Pool Road between Barwell and Hodge Road. It's a situation where that area is a complete sheet of ice. Brett Neese has been out there all morning long showing you cars just struggling to get up certain hills along Pool Road. We're going to keep monitoring that as well and let you know how that's going to affect your morning commute. We also have Monica Casey live in Durham this morning, setting the scene for us in terms of what you're seeing there on Duke Street.
Good morning, Ken. We're here on Duke Street, and I want to point out this car that's going in the other direction away from us right now. He's heading north, just how slowly he is going, taking that curve. He just went behind that bush there. There's another car coming here the other way, also taking it much slower than the speed limit on this road. And that is because this is one of the worst roads we have seen here in Durham. We've been in the downtown area, northwest of town on Hillsborough, north of town on Roxborough Street, and then this is Duke Street, another major thoroughfare going in and out of downtown. We are just north of downtown right now, and this is some of the worst of what we've seen. We are seeing a lot of slush on the roads here in Durham, but this road clearly is icy. We are watching people take it nice and slow, which is a good thing on this road. You can see this car coming up a little bit faster, and you can even just hear the tires kind of grinding in that slush and snow as this person goes by. You can hear that noise, just showing how snowy and icy it is. It is also now snowing again here in Durham. Just a little bit, just some flurries. The sidewalks and secondary roads, I'm here on a sidewalk right now. This is all still super icy as well. So if you're waking up and you're thinking about maybe going out to walk the dog, maybe getting ready for some sledding later, you want to remember these sidewalks, these secondary roads are still very icy here in Durham. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Hopefully everybody did their errands yesterday, got everything they needed to get done yesterday, because if you have to go out today, it's not a good idea.
Well, that's why I did my grocery shopping on Tuesday, because of that right there. WRAL's Brett Neese is live on Pool Road still. Brett, you've been out there. It's been messy. There was that van that was trying to get up the road. Any luck with that? Any progress?
Yeah, that senior living van, Chris, did make it out of here, but wow, it took a massive effort, spinning tires and burning a lot of rubber to get up off this hill. But take a look. This is Pool Road here behind me. You can actually see the tire tracks on the ice. That's where that van was a short while ago. But here's a couple more cars. And even more cars down at the bottom of the hill that they get to this spot and then they see what is happening and they'll either decide to turn around, or this red Jeep that's heading back towards us right now is decided to try to make it up the hill. But it's a very difficult process for anybody that's trying to navigate this right now, especially if you don't have the right tires, if you don't have four-wheel drive, if you don't have really the right situation. But most cars don't, because this is not what cars are equipped to do. They're not equipped to drive on a layer of ice. So you see a couple of cars that are on the side of the road there as well. There's a van that has its back wheels and they are stuck at this point. This Jeep, of course, right now, the spinning tires, this Honda backing up and turning around. It is car after car out here on Pool Road. Fortunately, nobody's hurt themselves by doing any of this. No injuries out here on Pool Road. But this is a dicey situation. The police have been out here, fire trucks have been out here trying to shut down this road as much as possible. But there's just such widespread issues that there are other things that they have to address and have to respond to, that this is, at this point, not shut down. They don't want anybody on this, but the road at the intersection right now behind us, it's not shut down, and it's allowing people to come and experience this for themselves as they turn around and they try to get out of here if they come down this road, as this Honda goes back and decides to do the right thing, turn around and get out of here, find another route. But really, the big story out here on Pool Road, avoid it at all costs at this point this morning. Live in Raleigh, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
And there are some folks who will not be getting out of RDU International Airport today either, because it's time to check flights, delays and cancellations here. A couple of interesting notes here. Just in the last 5 minutes, the delays have bumped up to a dozen right now. Total cancellations for today, we're looking at 30 overall. The interesting point about that, two things. 26 of those flights have originated from Raleigh-Durham. So there are only 4 flights coming in from other places that have been canceled. Everything is trying to get out of RDU. That's the problem. Not surprisingly, a dozen of those are American Airlines flights just by sheer volume. Yesterday, talking about volume, there were 79 canceled flights, 89 delayed flights. And if you're looking at the big picture, RDU handles about 400 flights in and out of the airport per day. So this amounts to less than 10% of the total flights.
All right, thank you, Jeff. And take a look at this. A DOT snowplow caught fire on I-95. Fire crews from Selma and the town of Micro responded to it. They were able to put out that fire quickly. Nobody was hurt. Firefighters have not said what sparked those flames.
And 2 people were hurt in a head-on crash on Atlantic Avenue in Raleigh. This happened around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. One person was taken to the hospital and they have life-threatening injuries at last check. And another person suffered a broken leg. This is just your reminder, folks. You can receive the latest weather updates from our team of experienced meteorologists with the WRAL News app. It is free to download, and when you sign up, make sure you put those push notifications on your phone so you will have the most up-to-date information right in the palm of your hand. Your time is 8:39, flooded and frozen. We are taking you to a Tennessee neighborhood dealing with major water concerns because of this winter blast.
And learning some new tricks. We know some of you are enjoying the snow day. We'll meet a local dog making the most of the winter weather. So cute.
And we are starting things off just a tad chilly this morning as you're looking live in Zebulon. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will return in just a moment to tell us who could expect to see a little more snow this morning. Fayetteville, did you think we forgot about you? We didn't. We have a camera right here to show you this morning. Not a lot of people out there on the roads, but probably for good reason, because it's really slippery outside.
Yes, it is. It is a WRAL weather alert day, day number 2 in a row because of this snow and the conditions on the roads out there. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is out on the WRAL weather patio showing us a look around town. A couple people on the roads, not many.
I hope they're not, because it is messy out there. You know, all of our reporters out in the field, you know, are seeing conditions that are really slippery. I'll tell you, I mean, just right here on the weather patio, super slippery right here. So even just walking out your door, down your sidewalk could be, you know, really treacherous out there. Be careful. All right, Fayetteville, we have another look at Fayetteville here. Fayetteville saw a little bit of a dusting of snow yesterday, and temperatures in Fayetteville are just as cold as they are here in the Triangle in the mid-20s. So anything that has fallen out there is slippery this morning. A live look at Apex. Down Salem Street, still a good bit of ice on the road, but in Chapel Hill it doesn't look quite as bad. It's more clear, but you know, that's a main road, and a lot of our secondary roads, neighborhood roads, and even some of our main roads are still pretty icy. Of course, there's a look at the gardens right behind where I'm standing. Speaking of ice on some of the main roads, here's a look at Lewisburg. Look at that. But look at the crews. There are a lot of folks out there working really hard to clear the sidewalk right in front of the courthouse. So, you know, people are busy. They're working on it, you know, trying to get everything as clear as possible. But I don't know that we'll make a lot of progress for today. We're just not going to see warm enough temperatures, and the clouds that are with us right now will be with us all the way until the mid to late afternoon. So expect the roads in some places to remain icy today. Now, tomorrow in the morning, it's likely to be icy. We're going to have really chilly wind chills, and so likely that we'll end up with more school closures, more school delays. Now, once we get into the weekend, we should really start to see improvement in leaps and bounds. So yesterday's snow, we ended up with 2.3 inches. And the last time that we saw as much snow as that was 5 years ago on February 20th, 2020, where we saw 2.5 inches. So it's been a while, it's been 5 years since we've seen this much snow. How much did we see? Officially 2.3 in Raleigh and 3.3 in Durham, 5 inches in South Hill. We were expecting the heavier totals to be to the north and east, and they were. 3.5 in Rocky Mount, and about half an inch in Goldsboro, just a little light dusting down in Fayetteville. I'm going to send it up to meteorologist Chris Michaels to talk a little bit more about why we're just not going to see much melting today.
Yeah, really. I mean, this snow and sleet that we saw, it's just going to stick around through at least today. I mean, you're standing out there right now, Elizabeth, and it's overcast. And really, that's going to be the case up until about 1 p.m. And we see this narrow band of flurries and light snow trying to push in from the triad as well. As we head beyond about 3 p.m. or so, we'll start to see the sky gradually clearing. As it does so, both late this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon, make sure you have the sunglasses with you, because snow reflects 90% of the incoming sunlight, and then that same reflection of energy continues into the nighttime hours. So when that happens, that means that things are going to get even colder heading into tomorrow morning. First thing out the door tomorrow morning, you're looking at temperatures generally between about 15 and 20 degrees. So unfortunately, it does look as though the slick road conditions are going to continue as we head into tomorrow morning. Elizabeth?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, we're going to just have to deal with it, and eventually it goes away. Here's what we're seeing on satellite and radar. Notice that band of snow is coming through the mountains, and it is starting to push into our area. I'm seeing more snow flurries right now, and we'll see that probably for a few hours, maybe even all the way up until lunchtime. But those snow flurries are not likely to accumulate into anything that's going to add to the problems that we're seeing right now. But you could definitely see that snow spreading in here on radar. Futurecast showing that band as well, and it just kind of slides on through. It begins to taper off closer to lunchtime, a flurry here, a flurry there, but nothing that's going to be consequential out of that system. Temperatures, of course, right now are mainly in the mid-20s, 26 in Durham and Fayetteville, but the wind chill is in the teens, 18 in Fayetteville, 17 in Goldsboro, 16 in Rocky Mount and in Roxborough. You know, kids, everybody's going to be kind of trapped at home again with some of the road conditions, so send them out to go sledding, but bundle them up. Our temperatures will be cold. The wind chill in the mid-20s even this afternoon. Of course, we have a cold weather advisory in effect for our southeastern counties overnight, or our northeastern counties overnight, where we could see some single-digit wind chills. Everybody's going to wake up tomorrow morning to wind chills between 10 and 12, so just keep that in mind. But there is an end in sight. A cold front arrives and sweeps warm air ahead of it next week, and our highs jump on up into the 60s. Take a look. Of course, cold today and tomorrow, some improvement over the weekend, and there you go, spring lovers. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are for you.
All right, let's what's happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We've got some breaking news in the Clayton area. I'll get to that in just a minute, but as you look at our live traffic map this morning, you can see a handful of crashes showing up, but none is really affecting any of the major routes. The purple that you're seeing on I-540 east and westbound there coming off of I-87, that's just people taking it very slow because of the dicey road conditions. We're also seeing it around the Beltline as well. And wherever you see purple, that's what we're seeing, is that People are just taking it really slowly as a result of the snowy and icy conditions that we're seeing there on many of our roads. This is the breaking news we've been talking about. Is a crash on exit 319 on I-40 eastbound, shutting down all lanes of traffic in that section of I-40 eastbound. This is around Highway 210. It's a situation we're hearing from DOT that it's probably going to be before noon before those lanes are reopened. We'll, of course, keep monitoring it and make sure that let you know how it's going to affect your morning commute. The other troubled spot, Pool Road, man, it's been an absolute mess this morning. Brett Nice has been showing you all morning long, cars just struggling to get up parts of those hills of Pool Road. Right now, we only have a disabled vehicle there on Hodge and Pool Road, but things look like it's clearing up just a bit there on Pool Road, but it was an absolute mess earlier today. Because of these dicey road conditions, if you're getting ready to head into your car, tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3. We'll keep you updated all morning long.
Thanks, Ken. Snow is blanketing North Georgia as well. This is video from the town of Blue Ridge that's just over the border with western North Carolina. And you can see snow covering the streets and sidewalks there. That area is getting the coldest weather it's had in almost a decade.
Wake County Public Schools are closed for a second day in a row, and they're not having remote learning like other districts are. And so WRAL Investigates wanted to understand why. Turns out district policy prioritizes in-person makeup days over remote learning. A spokesperson tells us that policy was written back in 2022. At the time, parents were fed up with online learning. Well, now they're kind of warming up to that idea. And so the spokesperson says the district plans to reconsider this policy.
And this crash in Pitt County sent one person to the hospital after the car flipped on its side. We'll have that story coming up, but this is a live look at Fayetteville this morning. We'll be right back with more coverage and that story. Welcome back. We're going to get back outside to WRAL's Brett Nice. He is live on Pool Road, where we have seen really messy conditions this morning. Brett, you spoke with people there that are dealing with this mess.
Yeah, Michelle, and it is really just